Headquarters.
Has joined the meeting.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Andrew.
Good evening.
John?
Yes, sir.
One of the matters we have on the agenda tonight under the city development and planning has to do with the lease of city property. There was a question that city clerk posed to me about whether or not that should be discussed in executive session. My reading of open meetings law is that it should be done in an executive session to section 105H, because we're dealing with the proposed lease of real property.
Okay. And did we share the backup?
I'm not sure. I'm not certain if that went out. But if there's it may have gone out, which is fine that if it did, but it did. But we should still discuss it now in executive session.
Okay, no problem.
All right, thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's Lisa.
Hi, Lisa. Good afternoon.
Has joined the meeting.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hello, it's Marion Porterfield.
Hi, Miriam.
Has joined the meeting.
Ray Gillen.
Has joined the meeting.
Okay, I think we have everyone here. Good evening, everyone. I would like to call the Schenectady City Council Committee meeting for Monday, April 20th, 2020 to order. And we'll go straight into administrative efficiency. Mr. Kosher.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Motivaren. We have one item for discussion, continuing discussion as it is, amending Chapter 6 of the Code of the City of Schenectady regarding affirmative action. And I'll turn that back over to you, Mr. President.
Yeah, this is, thank you. This is just a placeholder for us to submit our proposed changes to the MWB section. I know Mr. Porterfield submitted an email this afternoon to us, and hopefully that Mr. Gardner and myself can able to start work and incorporate those changes, comments, or adding to those sections.
What was that?
So, Miriam, so that's just a placeholder, and we'll have this ready in next 2 weeks with the proposed changes. So this is giving the council an opportunity to submit any changes that you may have or you would like to recommend. I encourage you. I also we have Mr. Gardner on the line. Would you like to add anything, Mr. Gardner?
No, we're just looking forward to continue to work through this and get it done.
Yeah.
All right, very good. Any other discussion or comments at this time?
No,
No. All right, so we will put this back on the agenda, Ms. Michael, for 2 more weeks. And again, just a reminder to please submit any changes or recommendations you may have to this legislative piece here to
Mr. Kosher, one item. We did miss an item to add on the agenda, and that has to do with an update on the COVID. It was supposed to be on the public safety,
ahead,
but so can we ask Mr. Mayor to just give us a brief update of what is happening?
Well, again, we're continuing to review the situation daily, working with the County Department of Health. They're really the lead agency on this. They've done a great job stepping up to and identify some of the problem areas. There's a lot of inconvenience that's been caused being quarantined where they're being watched. And again, the message is it looks like things are improving, but we have to each individually do the basics of social distancing, wash your hands, use those precautions to not spread the virus, and we'll keep our heads down and keep plugging away. Are there any specific questions that any member of the council might have?
I have Mr. Bosher.
Mayor?
Yes, I believe that was Ms. Porterfield.
Yes. Mayor, I have a question. I understand that yesterday, even though the government said it was going to be today, yesterday there was some antibody testing being done at the, at least in Schenectady, Market 32 on Eastern Parkway. Do we know what that's going to be like going forward? And secondly, is there a way that we could get data on the demographics of the people who have actually ultimately the deaths that have occurred in Schenectady County? Is there a way we can get the demographics so we can see really where this is hitting more than other places?
On your first question, again, I think the State Department of Health, which ran the testing site yesterday, was looking for a greater level of anonymity to ensure a more random sample than when you get one that's publicized. On the profile of those individuals who unfortunately have succumbed to the disease, the county medical examiner could put that together, Marion. I assume that they are probably doing it, even though I have not seen a specific report with it.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Anybody else? Was it Ms. Parazo?
Yes, thank you. Mayor, I've had a number of people across a variety of mediums, phone calls, texts, things of that nature, who have expressed that they would really like more communication from both the county and from you. Is there anything in the pipeline as far as, regular communication, maybe once a week, obviously not every day like the governor or whatever, but I think people really are craving information out there, and I didn't know if you were working on some sort of a communications plan.
We have regular meetings internally. I have done only one press conference because I believe the press conference format is contrary to the message of social distancing, but have put events, and it again is largely up to the press to cover those. But if people have specific questions, they can feel free to call. So we've done the outreach. I'm not sure it's necessarily gotten a level of coverage some of my counterparts in other levels of government.
Okay, I'll let them know to contact the mayor's office then.
Yeah, and Ms. Parazo, County, of course, County Manager Roy Fluman had his Facebook press release last Friday, and it will be every Friday from here out, from what I understand, at 10 a.m. on Facebook. So if you log into, again, the Schenectady County Facebook site, they will have a weekly press release and conversation at that time. And I know they were taking questions and answers, and I know the question from Ms. Porterfield was actually submitted and read by the county manager. So thank you, Ms. Porterfield, for submitting that as well. Anybody else? Any other questions or concerns to the mayor? Nope. All right. So seeing none, can I no other business to come before this?
Motion to adjourn.
Can I have a second?
Second. Yep, second.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We are adjourned. Thank you, Mr. President. Over to you.
So,
Thank you, Miss Karen. Just before you log on, Miss Colden had mentioned to us that these are executive session items.
Yes.
I have a couple of items that I was going to add into city development.
City
Let-
development
yeah.
and planning, if that's okay, Mr. President.
Go ahead.
Okay, Ms. Prazo, go ahead.
Yeah, my first one is, I'm assuming this is an essential duty, but I know we're sure to get questions on it soon. So just to get out ahead of it, are the city crews currently, this for both questions are for the mayor. Are the city crews currently working on filling potholes? Is there any kind of a schedule where we could tell them what neighborhoods they'll be working in? I assume that's an essential service.
They are doing potholes. I don't have a schedule. It's being generated daily in the department.
Okay, is there anywhere I can direct people other than to the citizen tracker to get?
Citizen tracker is still the best way, or they can again call the mayor's office and we'll refer it back for identity.
With our budget, just with, hearing what the governor has said and how things trickle down, and also, and a smart thing to not have people, have to use the parking meters, but still a little bit of a loss of revenue. Certainly the casino being closed is going to equate to a loss of revenue. So are we looking at things like, have there been any discussions? Have we looked at police overtime, how that's looking, whether we can rein it in a little bit? Same thing with other, overtime throughout the different departments in the city to try to offset some of this revenue loss. We haven't been in those conversations. So is there anything being discussed at this point around that?
We're doing internal reviews, trying to get a grasp on what the impact will be of the various events that are happening. And of course, the overall climate is not favorable, and have spent considerable time advocating through our congressional delegation and then working with other losses that are going to occur not only to businesses within the community, but to the city of Schenectady itself.
Okay, and I apologize because maybe I just missed it, but our city department heads meeting to reduce overtime, to reduce costs to the city. Is that another conversation aside from advocating for additional aid? What is being done internally to control costs, specifically with lines that we know we under budget, like police overtime and things of that nature?
We're reviewing those daily. And again, the review is being done to try and better grasp what the potential impact will be on the bottom line of the city. That's actually coming together fairly quickly now. Or
Okay.
some of the projections. I'm still not sure the level of accuracy because there's still a lot of unknowns in it.
Sure. Is that something we might be able to look at in 2 weeks as you get more specific information?
So council is more than willing to call anytime, but yes.
Thank you.
All right, is there anything else before we move to
There's the one item on to lease some property. That's not executive session.
well, I think it is because it's a negotiating with the contract. I spoke with Mr. Colden about it earlier.
If the council has questions about it, then it would be yes. Go ahead.
Well, obviously, if I may, it's, the council, if the council wants to hear this in executive session, it can certainly be discussed in executive session because it has to do with a lease. But it doesn't have to. It could be done in public if the council so chooses.
Mr. President?
Yes. Ms. Michael, did you publish this information online, the lease?
the packet. It is in the packet.
I believe it was provided.
It was.
It is, yes.
So if it's if it's shared to the public, I mean, we can discuss it.
Okay. All right, I believe Mr. Gillen is on the line. Has everyone had an opportunity to read through and understand what the request is? Yes. Yes.
Can you hear me? This is Ray Gillen. Can you hear me?
Yes, Ray, go ahead.
Yeah, I think Andrew was going to start. This is really his role. I'm just backing him up if anyone has any questions on the company or the proposed lease. But I think Andrew was going to go first, and I was going to play wingman to him. And Andrew, if that's okay, if that meets your needs.
Thanks, Ray. We're looking at the lease of about 0.15 acres of land located behind 588 Broadway to Highbridge 890 LLC, which is the owner of 588 Broadway. As a background, about 10 years ago, the city worked with Metroplex and Highbridge Development to redevelop this particular property at 588 Broadway. It was vacant, it was blighted. The building is now home to Paragon Energy Solutions. Has 38 people at a Schenectady location. It has a lease that expires this year. Metroplex and Highbridge Development would like to retain Paragon's occupancy, and Paragon does have a plan to increase their employment to 55 employees at this location. Because of that, they're looking to increase their parking capacity. So the area behind 588 Broadway is essentially a paper street, where Van Geisling Avenue used to proceed, at least on paper, prior to its actual curved path back to Broadway. The LLC would like to lease this 0.15 acres of property from the city for 20 years at $1,000 per year to start, with a 2% increase every year. I did provide information about what we would receive over the lifetime. It would be $24,297.87, or on average, $1,214.87 a year. There was a proposed lease, Colin, who I spoke to for some time about this. The only access right now that's necessary is that New York State accesses the land, or that little paper street, to get to 890. I don't see this as being an impediment, though, to leasing the property out. And Mr. Wallen has no objections to the lease. There was a memo attached from Mr. Gillen supporting this, talking about the importance of this lease for keeping Paragon. And there's also a draft of a lease agreement that was provided, as well as a map of the area to be leased and a sketch of the area. Based upon a review and the city's lack of current use of that land, the law department has no objections to the lease.
Yeah, I'd just like to add, if I can, Andrew did a great job, and Chris Wallen has been very supportive. The company is growing. They're a great tech company that's downtown. With the current crisis underway, every job is precious. This retains 38 jobs. They plan to grow to 55 and eventually to 80. The city's not using this parcel now. We're getting above market rate on the lease, and the owner of the building will maintain the property, plow it. Basically, it's an unused asset for the city right now, so we monetize that asset, get some money. The property pays full taxes. The company has met or exceeded its job goals every year for the 10 years they've been here. It's a great company. We want to make sure they stay here. With the fact that their lease is up, the current landlord's going to make about $500,000 worth of improvements in the property. One issue is parking. They need more parking. This paper street's behind them. We get 9 more spots by using this paper street, and the city gets some income, recurring income from the property tax, and benefits from the jobs and the this.
They're going to pay us $1,000 a year for it with an inflation clause.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Andrew and Mayor. Are there any questions?
I'll move it. This is Carmen.
All right.
Thank you.
So thank you, Ray.
Thank you all. Be safe. Be
Yes.
safe. Thank you, Andrew, and thank you, Chris, and thank you, Council and the Mayor. Thank you very much for supporting our economic development program. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray.
Bye.
So if there's nothing else to come
Ray
before
Gillen
Has
city
left the
development
meeting.
and planning, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
I'll call to order claims and ask for a motion. I assume, Mr. Colden, all of these items are for executive session.
That's correct.
All right, I'll ask for a motion to go into executive session, please.
So moved. This is Ms. Porterfield.
Okay. And may I have a second? Mr. Koger?
Second, please.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
All
Aye.
right. So we're to sign off and go into the other meeting link, correct?
That is correct. Yes, I was about to say that. Yes. Sign off and we'll log into the next WebEx. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Samantha Maiku.